Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Alexis Faye Yoga. I'm so very glad that you've decided to join me today. Now, our practice today will be a Vinyasa flow for the full body, an everyday flow. If that sounds good to you, hit the like and subscribe buttons down below, roll out your mat, and we'll hop right into it. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another week of yoga. Sending that right foot back. We'll begin our practice today with some happy elephants. Walking our feet out a little further. We'll reach the arms out to a T, spread the fingertips out nice and wide. Now we'll open in one direction, swinging the arms through center to the other, flowing side to side, finding a gentle twisting motion through the body. As we start to wake up the shoulders, the hips, the spine. Let the arms run out of momentum, coming to rest by our side, walking the feet in towards our Tadasana, our mountain pose. With an in-breath, or reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And with an exhale, we'll hinge from the waist, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, engaging the core, reaching forward with the top of the head. Exhale to fold. Now we'll take a little bit of time here in our forward fold to play around. We can grab for opposite elbows and find a sway side to side. We can pedal out the legs, swivel the hips, and find a slight bouncing. Whatever feels right to your body today. And with our next in-breath, we'll move back to our halfway lift, reaching forward with the top of the head. Exhale to fold. We'll nod the head yes. And shake the head no. Letting the arms be wiggly and soft towards the floor. We'll add a little more bend to the knees. And starting at the lowest point of our spine, we'll slowly ragdoll our way towards standing. Finding a few shoulder rolls, rolling backwards, and then rolling the shoulders forwards. We'll make our way to the top of our mat. With a big breath in, reach the arms up. Exhale to hinge from the waist, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We'll plant the hands down, stepping the feet back to our plank. Spread the fingertips out nice and wide. We'll shift forward. Chaturanga to an up dog or to a cobra. And we'll send the hips up and back for our down dog. And wiggle out a little bit more. Now we'll walk the hands in about one hand's distance, closer to the toes. We're closing out the distance between the hands and feet. We can walk the feet a little further apart, adding more of a bend to the knees. So we can really press the hips up and back behind. Now find a gentle twisting motion by lifting our right hand off the mat and reaching it back towards our left heel. Shining the chest open towards our left side. We'll shift back to our neutral down dog and wiggle out a little more. And then we'll do the same thing on our other side, picking up the left, reaching back for the right ankle, and then shining the chest over towards our right side. Releasing the right leg, stepping the left hand back down. We'll shift a little further forward, coming onto our tippy toes, hovering the knees over the mat, pressing into the fingertips, finding our levitating or floating tabletop. Dropping the knees the rest of the way down, untuck the toes. With an in-breath, we'll reach the chest forward, take the eyes up. Exhale, curl in towards center, rounding through the spine, pressing the hands into the earth. And we'll shift forward and back as we roll up the spine for our cat-cow poses with the breath. We'll come back to our tabletop and walk the hands in so we can sit up on our legs, reaching the spine tall towards the ceiling. We'll reach the arms up. Now we'll move to some side stretches, dropping our left hand down so we can lengthen the right hand over the body towards the left side. Pressing into our right hip and feeling an expansion across our whole right side. Inhale, we'll cartwheel the arms, drop the right hand down, reach the left hand up and over the body towards the right side. Again, we're pressing the left hip into the earth, reaching and finding that expansion across the whole of our left side. Inhale to lift back up again. Now we're going to lift taller, so we are on our knees. We can walk the legs in a little bit closer if that's more comfortable to you and your body today. We'll tuck the toes under and we'll engage through the core, pulling the ribs and hip bones in a little bit closer, drawing the belly button in and up. Now we're going to start by shifting back a little further. And then back up again. Just finding a little forward and back shift. Only going back as far as you can pull yourself back up. Good. Maybe now you're starting to feel the fronts of your legs, maybe even your hip flexors. We'll reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, cactus the arms. We're bringing the arms out to our sides. Palms are wide. We're drawing the shoulder blades into the spine and then down the back. We can even find a baby back bend here if you would like. By lifting the chest, sliding the eyes up. And then we'll bring the body back to a more neutral. Drop the hands down. We'll walk the hands out in front of the shoulders. Tuck the toes under. Lift the hips up and back for our down dog. Wiggling out a little more. And then we'll lift our left leg up towards the sky. Circle the left leg around in one direction. And then we'll circle the left ankle around in the other. Now drawing that left knee in towards the chest, we'll find a lift as we shift forward and drop that left foot down. A full breath in, and then an even larger breath back out. We'll drop the right knee down, untuck the toes. Inhale, shift up. Now we'll tuck the hips forward and then send the hips towards the top of our mat. Finding a low lunge here. Now pressing into that left leg, we'll extend our leg out nice and long. The toes can stay down or they can lift. It is up to you and how your anatomy moves today. But we'll hinge from the waist, keeping the hips back as we lengthen the arms and head forward. And then soften the chest towards that left leg for our half splits. Now adding that bend back into our left leg, we'll walk both hands to the inside of our foot. And then we'll start to pivot our right foot around. So the right toes are reaching off the left side of our mat. We can find a gentle reach of the right hand up towards the ceiling and then float the rest of the body up. Now we'll lengthen out through our left leg again and reach the right hand towards the top of our mat, finding a side bend. Inhale to lift the right hand and the body back up. We'll drop that right hand towards the back of the mat in line with our left knee and our right toes. Inhale to reach the left hand up and over the body towards the back of the mat. So we have a long line from our left foot up through our left hand. Now we have an option here. If you would like to move to a side plank, you can pick up your right leg, hug it in towards your left, or we can keep it planted. Now, if we chose that plank variation, we can drop the leg back down. Inhale to lift the body back up. Now, our front toes are pointed off the top of our mat. We're going to bend into that hip, but our chest is open towards the right side of our mat. So we're stretching out the insides of the legs here. Now you can keep your hands at heart center, you can bring them to your waist, or you can also reach that right hand towards the top of your mat, and your left elbow connects with your left knee. Good. We'll circle the hands down and around to the inside of our left leg as we pivot around on our right knee. Now we can scoot that left foot towards the outer top edge of our mat as we move into a lizard pose here, softening the hips forward. We also have the option to tuck the right toes, lift the right leg off of the mat. We have an option to drop to forearms. We have an option to press the left hand into the left knee to open the hip further. Finding an option that feels right to you will take a little bit of time. Now pressing the hands into the earth, we'll tuck the right toes under, lift the right leg, and we can lift the left and send it up and back. Or we can walk it back a little ways until we can lift it and send it back. We'll add a bend to the left knee, and we'll drop the toes over to the right side of our mat. So we're stacking our hips, opening them up towards the left side of the mat. We can stay here if we'd like, or we can flip into our fallen angel by dropping the left toes down to the right side of the mat, sending the left hand up and over the body, lifting the hips towards the sky. We'll soften the chest around towards the mat, reach the left leg long again before we set it down. And we'll wiggle out. And then we'll reach the right leg up tall. Circle the ankle around in one direction, and then around in the other. We'll draw knee to nose, lifting through the body as we shift the right foot to the top of our mat. Full breath in, and an even larger breath back out as we drop our left knee down to the mat, untuck the toes. Inhale to lift tall, tucking the hips forward, and then we'll shift the hips towards the top of our mat for our low lunge. Pressing down through the right foot, we'll extend the right leg long. Again, your toes can stay down or they can pop up. We'll reach the hips back, lengthen the fingertips and the top of the head forward as we move to our halfway splits, softening the chest towards our right leg. And we'll shift forward again, coming through our low lunge. We'll circle our hands so they're both on the inside of our right foot as we lift and pivot our left leg around so the toes are off the right side of our mat. We can walk the body in, lift it up. We'll lengthen out through our front foot, our right foot. Now lifting the left hand up and over the body, we'll reach towards the top of our mat, finding that full side stretch. With an in-breath, we'll lift back up and drop the left hand to the back of the mat. We'll reach the right hand up and over the body to the back of the mat. Now again, we have that option here to lift our left leg, hug it up to the right. Or we can also keep that left leg down. With our inhale, we'll again pull the body back up. Turn the toes towards the top of our mat if they have moved. And we'll bend into our right knee. The chest stays open towards our left side of the mat. And we're sending the hip up to the top of the mat, stretching out the inside of the legs. We can pick up our right hand and reach it to the top of the mat as well, or we can keep it down towards the body as we stretch the insides of our legs. And we'll lift back a little, boys, so we can walk the hands in. Pivot the left leg around so that the toes are off the back of the mat again. We'll move to our lizard pose, walking our right leg towards the outer edge of our mat, shifting the hips forward. Again, we can tuck our left toes under, lift the left knee off the mat. We can press the right hand into our right knee. We can drop to forearms, or we can walk the hands further out away from the top of our mat. We'll tuck the left toes under, pick up the left leg. From here, we'll pick up the right, send it up and back behind three-legged dog to our down dog. Wiggling out. Walk the hands a little ways closer towards the toes. Add more of a bend to the knees. Press the hips up and back. And then we'll shift forward to our floating tabletop, gripping the earth with the fingers, bringing the knees to hover over the mat, engaging through the core. We'll drop the knees the rest of the way down, walk the hands in towards the body, sitting up on the legs, up on the toes. Now we'll sit a little bit taller, so we're up on the knees. The body is away from the heels. We'll tuck the heels under if we untucked them. And we're going to engage through the core. Shift a little further back. Drop our left hand towards our left heel. Now we can do one side at a time, dropping back, lifting up, shifting forward. Drop the right hand back, lifting up, shifting forward. And we can continue to float back and forth, doing one side of our camel pose at a time, keeping our core strong and engaged, using the fronts of our quads. Or we have an option, if camel pose is in your regular practice, to drop both hands down towards the heels, press the hips forward, lift the chest, and take the eyes a little ways up the wall. Either option is a wonderful option. And whichever option we're in, we'll engage the core, lift us back up, and then move to our tabletop. Untuck the toes, and we'll find some figure 8 shapes here. Shifting the chest up towards the hands, moving around the wrists, diagonally shifting back towards the heels, circling around the feet, and diagonally up towards the hands. So we're imagining that we're moving in a figure 8, looping around the hands and looping around the heels. And then we'll switch directions and do our loop-de-loops the other way around. Back to our tabletop again. We'll walk the hands little ways out in front of the shoulders. Tuck the toes under, send the hips up and back, down dog. Lift the left leg up towards the sky. Bend at the knee. Lift and round as we shift that left foot to the top of our mat. With an in-breath, we'll lift the body up, stacking the shoulders over the hips. We're staying tall on our back foot, reaching the hands up towards the sky. Now we're going to open up towards the right side of our mat as we pivot around on our back foot, bringing the feet perpendicular, rolling that left knee to the left side of our mat, reaching forward and back. With an in-breath, we'll lift the left hand up towards the sky, reach it to the back of our mat. With our exhale, we'll cartwheel the arms, reach the right hand up and over to the front of our mat. With our inhale, we'll lengthen through our left leg, our front leg, as we reach the left hand to the back of our mat. Cartwheel one more time, reaching forward with the left hand as we add a hinge to the waist and reach the right hand up. Making our way to our triangle pose, we'll take a few breaths here, lengthening up towards the sky, stacking the shoulders, opening the chest and the hips towards our right side. We have two options here. Either we float back up the way we came in with our straight front leg, or we add a bend into our left leg to lift us back up to our warrior two. Now lengthening out through that front leg again, we'll pick up the toes, wiggle them out, and then pivot them to our side mat. Now the feet can be perpendicular, or you can slightly bring the toes in, heels to point away to get an internal rotation to the hips. But from here, we'll move to our wide-legged forward fold, hinging from the waist, softening forward, dropping the top of the head towards the mat. We'll take a little bit of time here to play in our wide-legged forward fold. We can find a sway side to side. We can walk the hands back and forth between the feet. We can take the hands even further out in front of the body and find a forward and back shifting motion. Or we can walk the hands through the legs out to the back side of our mat. With an in-breath, we'll start to lift back up for halfway lift, engaging the core, reaching forward with the top of the head. We'll walk the hands over towards our left foot. We'll walk the hands through center towards our right foot. And then again, we'll walk towards center, towards the top of our mat, pivoting both legs around as we do so. Lifting our left leg up off the mat. We'll pick it up, send it back to our down dog. Wiggle out some more. We can pedal out the legs, swivel out the hips. And then we'll lift our right leg up towards the sky. Bending at the knee, lifting through the core, shifting forward, drop the right foot down. Bring a full breath in through the nose and release it out as a sigh. lift the upper body, stack it over the hips, bend into the right knee, crescent lunge. We'll start to pivot and open up towards the left side of our mat, warrior two. Feet are perpendicular. The left toes are out the left side of our mat, right toes out the top. We're bending into our front right leg, reaching forward and back. With our next in-breath, we'll reach the right hand up and over the body towards the back of our mat. Exhale, cartwheel the arms over the body. Connect right elbow, right knee, reach the left arm up and over to the top of the mat. Inhale, we'll cartwheel again, lengthening out through our front right leg as we reach to the back of our mat. One more time, reaching forward with the right hand as we add a hinge at the waist. Lift the left hand and stack the shoulders. Triangle pose. From here, we can either float back up with the straight front leg, or we can add the bend into the right, lift us up, and then bring the leg back towards straight. We'll lift our toes off the mat, give them a wiggle out, and then turn them to the left side of our mat. Bringing the heels in, the toes to point away this time. We'll tuck the hips forward, squeeze the glutes, add a bend to the knees, and we'll drop the hips straight down towards the earth, finding our goddess pose. Now we can bring hands to heart center. We can drop them to our legs, or you can bring them to a cactus pose. But notice, if this cactus pose means that you're lifting your chest and sending your hips back, we want the integrity of a long spine. So you can drop your hands back down if you notice you're arching through your body. We can find a little sway side to side here. Maybe softening the hips a little bit lower with each sway. Maybe dropping just a little bit lower. Pulling those knees back, squeezing the glutes, pressing the hips forward. All right, lengthen out through both legs. Give the hips a wiggle, or reach the arms up and away from the body. Splay the fingertips out nice and wide. We can wiggle out through our star pose. And with a big exhale, we'll hinge from the waist and fold forward. Now we can keep the toes where they are. We can bring them back to parallel as we walk our hands towards our right foot. Walk the hands through center to our left foot. And then once again, towards the top of our mat as we pivot both feet around to our lunge. We'll pick up our right leg, send it up and back behind three-legged dog to our down dog. Slide the hands one hand's distance closer, add a little more bend to the knees, press the hips up and back. We'll shift further forward, moving through our floating tabletop again, grounding the fingertips into the earth, engaging through the core. We'll drop the knees the rest of the way down. Keep the toes tucked as we walk in. Lift tall on the knees. And we'll move through our camel pose one more time. So again, we have the option to come back, tap one heel, shift forward, tap the other heel. Or we have the option to find the full expression of the pose. Or we can do both. We have a little bit of time here. Engaging through the core, pulling the belly button in and up, shifting the hips forwards. We're using our hip flexors and our quads. We'll start to tip back. Then we can send the hands back to find the heels. We'll press the hips forward, lift the chest, pull the shoulder blades in to squeeze at the spine and reach the eyes towards the top edge of the wall. Now again, if this is not in your practice today, finding those half camel poses is great. Reaching back, shifting forward, one side at a time. You're using your obliques here and building a strong core as we start to open up a little further across the front of the chest and find a chest opener, a heart opener. Now, whichever variation we are in, we'll engage through the core, lift us back up, walk the hands forward, finding a tabletop. Bring the knees under the hips, untuck the toes, and we can find a little wiggling out in a way that feels right. We can find some more cat-cows or some more figure eights. We can barrel roll the chest in each direction, or we can just wiggle out the hips. Now we'll make our way to a seated position from here, so we can cross the ankles, roll back over the legs, or take both feet around in the same direction to get us back down to our mat. We'll lengthen the legs out in front of the body, give them a little wiggling out. Sitting up nice and tall. And we'll start to slowly use the core, keep the head long, shift, taking as much time as we can as we soften down to the mat. We'll find a full body stretch once we've gotten there, reaching the arms up overhead, pointing with the toes. And then we'll circle the arms down around the body. And we'll walk the bottoms of the feet in. Now, if you have this space in your low back or your back is not touching the mat, we'll lift the hips off the mat, roll them forward and set them down. We want to be nice and grounded here. We'll lift both legs up towards the sky, wrap the arms around them and give them a nice big squeeze into the chest. We can rock side to side, massaging out the low back. Or we can find a happy baby or plow pose variation. We're just starting to find some compression to the abdomen with the legs. Whichever variation we're in, we'll settle the hips back down. We'll leave the left leg at the chest, give it a nice big squeeze as we reach the right leg long and drop it down to the floor. Big hug to this left side. We can rock it side to side or find some circles of the hip. Now we'll bring that left knee back in. And then we'll guide it over the right side of our mat for a gentle twist. Pressing the left shoulder into the earth, we can extend the left arm out long to the side. And we can have the eyes follow that left hand, or we can keep the eyes up towards the ceiling. Start to roll back to our mat and give another squeeze to the left leg before we bring the right leg in. Big hug to our right as we extend our left lung and drop it all the way down. Now we can, on this side again, find some hip circles or gently rock the leg side to side. I'll bring the right knee back in and then guide it over our left side. Gentle twist again. Press the right shoulder into the earth. Extend the right arm long. We can keep the eyes up or follow the right hand. Coming back through our center again. Another big hug to the right leg as we bring the left back up, squeezing both legs into the chest. Maybe this time lifting the chin towards the chest and the back of the head off of the mat. We can find a little more rocking side to side or rocking around in a circle. Now from here, we can rock forward and back until we made our way to a seated position. Now this practice does not have a shavasana at the end, but I do have several videos that are solely shavasana classes, and I do highly recommend a shavasana after your practice to let all that goodness soak in. But if you do not have time for a full shavasana, we'll take a little bit of time here in our seated position. We can either bring hands to heart center or leave the hands in the lap with the palms up towards the sky. We'll close the eyes and bring a large breath in through the nose. And open mouth sigh to let it go. We'll do 2 more like this. Breathing in through the nose, sitting up tall through the spine. An open mouth sigh to let it go. One last time. A large breath in through the nose, maybe the biggest breath in we've taken all of class. A few more sips of air at the top. And then we'll let it go. Thank you so very much for joining me today. It is always such a joy and an honor to get to spend this time with you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Go in love, go in light, go in peace, and go in joy. Now, if you have made it all the way through this practice, thank you again for joining me. You can leave me an animal emoji down below so I know that you watched all the way here to the very end of this class. You can also check out the links down there and follow them to my Patreon or to my other social media to get more videos, more content, more time hanging out with me, and to support me further. I truly do appreciate you.